it going, Jace. We just need two more.
Hold on! Don't let go!
Don't let go. All right, we're good. We got it. Hold on. Don't let go. Back to school spirit. That is Rebecca Pringle, known as Becky Pringle, president of the National Education Association, the NEA, famous for her lively rants at conferences and rallies. This video, if we can just show the visual again, Jace, really quick. I want to show everyone this video was tweeted out by our friend and ally, Corey DeAngelis, on X. You can see it on his X account there. And Corey DeAngelis, if you don't know him already, he is a force of a school choice advocate, and he has just done so much incredible work, really educating people about school choice and the benefits of it and the necessity of it across the nation. So he there on his X account playfully tagged Becky Pringle once she finds out teachers can opt out of her union and get free liability insurance from the Teacher Freedom Alliance. So applause, shout out, all the gratitude and thanks goes to Corey DeAngelis for that. Today is Wednesday, August 6th, 2025. If you're watching us live, this episode, of course, is titled Back to School. It is for parents, but it's also for teachers. And we're talking about teacher union corruption and classroom phone bans, just as the title and description outlines here. Plus, I have a surprise hit piece turned compliment I'm going to share it with you at the very end of this show. It's about PragerU and PBS Kids, and it's from MSNBC, one of our favorite, hit peacemakers, if you will. It's a good one, and I'm going to share that later on in the show. I'm Jill Simonian. I'm a mom of teens, co-creator of PragerU Kids. We are live here on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and X. Let me know where you're watching from. I typically follow along on Facebook, and I will periodically read comments throughout this live stream here. If you haven't already, subscribe for free to PragerUKids.com, age-appropriate videos and lessons that teach K through 12 history, good character, financial literacy, and more. Most of our resources are free. All of them actually are free. I always say most because we do have hard copy books that you can purchase from Amazon, which I'll share with you later in the show. But many of our books actually are free downloads on the website as well. So, okay, yeah, free resources. Okay, back to Becky. If you're just tuning in, we shared the lively video of Becky Pringle from the NEA, the largest teacher union in America. Let's say that you know nothing about teachers' unions and you have been under a rock and you're just sort of, found yourself on this live stream today, not knowing anything about teacher unions. Here is what Google says. Literally, this is what Google says. The NEA, if you Google it right now, I took this word for word. I Googled it about an hour ago, and this is what came up. The NEA represents approximately 3 million members, making it the largest white-collar labor union in the country. The NEA is a major political player, influencing education policy and contributing heavily to political campaigns, particularly those of Democratic and liberal candidates. Where, can I ask, as a mother and a strong advocate for teachers who believe in moral and patriotic education, where is the mention, Google, that the NEA looks out for the good of students? It doesn't. It doesn't, right? We asked Google, and Google identified the NEA as a political policy organization. Here's the thing. If you don't already know, we think, aren't unions supposed to be about helping kids get educated and protecting teachers from unfair accusations and lawsuits? No. The answer is no. And Corey DeAngelis, whose tweet that I shared with you previously, follow him on X, by the way, if you do not already. It is the best up-to-date information about what's going on in schools, particularly with school choice and the unions. Corey DeAngelis has been a powerful figure in exposing the unions for what they are. The original The original whistleblower, I will say, is Rebecca Friedrichs of forkidsandcountry.org. She is a teacher. She helps teachers now leave their unions and offers alternative protection. And you know, I just want to reiterate, if you are a teacher feeling trapped and really stuck between loving your job as an educator, wanting to teach kids knowledge, and being stuck in this spot of, you know, gee, I really need legal protection. God forbid, should something happen, that I need to be, you know, protected, you know, that I need liability protection. Check out Teacher Freedom Alliance. I'm going to get into our articles really quickly, but I cannot go further without mentioning this because it's important. Teachers who want to break their shackles from the unions, check out teacherfreedomalliance.com. Yes, teacherfreedomalliance.com. They equip educators to develop free, moral, and upright American citizens, to allow educators to teach in a way that honors our American values without being part of the unions. I was so thankful and blessed and lucky to be at their, I believe it was second or maybe third, don't quote me on that, conference in middle of July in Washington, D.C. Hundreds of incredible educators across the country gathering together, learning how to break free from corrupt unions like the NEA and maintain liability, you know, insurance and protection for their professions, and really just, you know, banding together to improve and uplift what our education system should be. And that, of course, is teaching kids knowledge, not political activism. So let's get to the article about the NEA's recent annual meeting that you need to know about as a parent or a teacher that happened this summer. This is what is on their priority list for schools across America this year. And I am sharing with you an article on FoxNews.com. This was incidentally written by Corey DeAngelis. So let's read the headline here. If you're listening or if you're watching, Teachers Union reveals true colors behind closed doors at annual convention. NEA passes resolutions attacking Trump and parental rights while rejecting focus on student learning. And this was actually published about a month ago, July 10th, but it is absolutely relevant because, again, many people who do not follow what the teacher union, particularly the NEA, has been doing, you know, in close detail, as Corey DeAngelis does. You know, a lot of people innocently think, hey, it's the union, it protects the teachers, it helps the teachers, it helps the kids, it protects education to kids. No, none of that happened. So I'm going to get into the article. I'm just going to share this word for word with you. Again, this was written by Corey DeAngelis. The National Education Association, the NEA, the largest teachers union, held its annual convention in Portland, Oregon, and laid bare its transformation into a brazenly political organization. Far from prioritizing the education of America's children, the NEA's agenda was a parade of partisan resolutions, misspelled attacks on political opponents. He says that because if you look at their materials, they misspelled the word fascism. Okay, Corey continues, and a clear alignment with far left wing of the Democratic Party. And this tone, Corey reports, was set by an educator by the name of Ashley Crossan, the NEA's 2025 Teacher of the Year, who declared, and we saw this online around July 4th, that her job as an educator is, quote, deeply political and always has been. So that, in fact, is, you know, that's disturbing in itself. The convention's resolutions, which were leaked to Corey by an NEA conference attendee, were a masterclass, he says, in political overreach. One business item called for the NEA to, quote, defend against Trump's embrace of fascism, and that's where they misspelled the word fascism, in NEA materials to correctly characterize Donald Trump's program and actions. The NEA did not stop there. Another resolution labeled any move to eliminate the Department of Education as, quote, an illegal, anti-democratic, and racist attempt to destroy public education and privatize it in the interests of the billionaires. Calling the eradication of a bureaucratic education that the Department of Education has swelled to be in the last few decades, calling that racist is absolutely ridiculous. And Corey DeAngelis, again, cites in this FoxNews.com article that you yourself can go and read, it's absolutely ridiculous because the track record of what the Department of Education has yielded, or should I say failed to have yielded, is any sort of positive educational movement with low-income minority students. The department's one-size-fits-all approach has entrenched disparities, trapping kids in failing schools based on their zip codes. And again, these are the words of Corey DeAngelis, but I want to share with you this article because what he says is just, it's absolutely spot on. And yes, I realize that this is an opinion piece, but when you look at the evidence and when you look at, the black and white agenda of what the NEA continues to discuss in its annual meetings, it is nothing short. It is straight up political. There is nothing in there committed to teacher enrichment, teacher support. There's nothing that I have seen in any of the past few NEA agendas for their summer annual meetings since 2022 that lends support to improving the education and results for student achievement. Nothing. The NEA's resolution, I'm going back into the article now because I want to share this with you. The NEA's resolutions also took aim at parental rights, not surprising. If you were following the Supreme Court's ruling for Mahmoud versus Taylor, and I believe this happens recently, it allowed parents to opt their children out of gender ideology instruction should a parent think that it is not age appropriate or, for their particular child, or if it goes against their religious beliefs. The NEA literally adopted a business item signaling its intent to keep pushing content in classrooms despite the Supreme Court ruling in favor of a parent's right to opt out should they see fit. So again, the NEA does not want parents to be involved in any sort of educational experience for their child because they are literally voting on and passing resolutions to go against Supreme Court rulings. I want to continue in the article. Corey says the most puzzling was the NEA's decision to, quote, not use, endorse, or publicize any materials from the Anti-Defamation League, which is an organization founded to combat anti-Semitism. And he does rightfully ask, why would you single out a group dedicated to fight hate? And this move, he says, raises serious questions about the union's priorities and really does send a troubling message at a time when anti-Semitism is on the rise. So we know that the NEA has a political bias. I wanted to bring it up again as we are heading back to school. And now, before anyone's, and the article continues on, and you can go on foxnews.com to read it, but I really wanted to share with you the most, the biggest things that sort of stuck out to me as I was reading it as a mom who happens to have, very close relatives and friends and family members who are teachers, who do feel trapped in unions, or who are also right now, luckily, in school districts who that are for some reason still non-unionized, but who advocates in those school districts are pushing to be unionized. And I have many family members and friends who are very, very scared about the unionization of their school districts because they feel like they can't get out of it. And the good news is that yes, you can get out of it. There are organizations to help. Follow Corey DeAngelis on X. He will guide you towards the light. Follow Rebecca Friedrichs, forkidsandcountry.org. She has alternatives to support teachers and allow them to legally opt out of their union. And the Teacher Freedom Alliance, teacherfreedomalliance.com, also offers guidance and resources for all of the teachers who do not want to join the union but still need that liability protection. So I just wanted to, put that out there. And now I do want to go to the actual document from the NEA. So before anyone, shouts in the comments, Jill, you've made this up. That's not what happened at the NEA annual meeting in 2025. Here's the actual document. Jace, go ahead, bring it up. We have it all right here. And I'm going to start at the very top. RA Today, there we go. We have the document, and the website that this PDF is from is, you probably can't see it on the screen, but it is in fact from NEA.org. So this is from the NEA itself, right here, the document outlining the amendments to the bylaws and standing rules. And as we scroll down to page 2, you can see amendments to the bylaws and standing rules. And then we have the RA election results. And now we have on, I'm not sure which page this is, but it is titled 2025 NEA Day of Teaching, Learning, and Organizing for ... power. I'm not laughing because I think it's funny. I'm laughing because this is just beyond all reason. I don't care what your perspective is politically. I don't care if you're left or right or in the middle or somewhere few and far between. When you have teachers organizing for capital POWER, power, and that is outlined on their agenda for their annual meeting, it is disturbing and troubling for any parent or teacher. So right here, I just want to briefly look at the sessions that happened in this summer reading. Session, Kids Not Cuts, Social Media and Advocacy Skills to Mobilize and Fight for Our Students. Okay, so one might say, hey, that's for the students. But to fight for what? Not on Our Dime, a strategy lab on taking action against vouchers and privatization. Anti-parent, Values, Vision, and Victory, promoting racial, social, economic, and education justice through inclusive education. Social justice, activism right here. Building power for the common good, tools and strategies for organizing and action, activism again. Countering authoritarian overreach, making attacks on our democracy backfire. Okay, so we have, then if we scroll down, discover, lead, achieve, and there's a lot of stuff. I'm not going to go through everything here because it's frankly too much, and I don't have the time for it. 35 years of the Americans with Disabilities Act. Okay, so we're scrolling down. All of the business items are here, and the things that I described to you from that article regarding blatantly rejecting the Supreme Court decision that allows parents to opt out of lessons that lessons of radical ideology in the classroom. These are all outlined in their business items. Cutting ties with the ADL, Anti-Defamation League, against anti-Semitism. This is all outlined in their business items in this large, very, very large document. So I did not make this up. Corey DeAngelis did not make this up. This is the actual business agenda outline from the NEA this summer. I'm just scrolling through the whole thing. Resilience, respect, power, it says. And that, for next year, in 2026, their leadership summit is titled Resilience, Respect, Power. So they keep using this word power in their materials. It's concerning because when we shout, our schools are not when we shout, our schools are politicized, we're really not exaggerating. And we do know that only about half of American students are proficient at grade level. Some people say less than half in reading, math, and history, K through 12. Look at the data from the National Assessment of Educational Progress. If you Google Nation's report card and you sift through all the numbers, it's a lot. It's not encouraging. It's actually very sad. And we know that kids aren't learning knowledge. We know that the NEA and teacher unions, even the statewide teacher unions, they are compromising our children's ability to effectively learn by focusing on activism and that P word again, power that is outlined in their agenda. Kids aren't learning knowledge, which incidentally brings me to our next back to school need to know that you need to know as parents and teachers. We're talking cell phone bans in classrooms. Before I get to that article, I'm just curious to read the comments here. I want to see if I have any comments. The NEA is an unnecessary and basically bad organization. That's a comment on Facebook. Thanks for your thoughts, Dave. I'm looking at this. Let's see. I'm trying to scroll through these comments. Small screen thought Whoopi was pitching again. Oh, Timothy on Facebook, you're probably talking about the video of Becky Pringle that I shared. Watching from Albany, New York. Hey there, Letitia. Good to see you from Albany, New York. If you're watching on Facebook, that's a good idea. Tell me where you're from. I'm curious. Okay, let's go to the article about cell phone bans in schools. And this one that I am sharing here is about Texas. And the headline from KHOU.com. It's one of the local television stations. No more phones in Texas classrooms. These are the new rules parents need to know. Now, before I get into this, of course, Texas is not the only state doing this, but let's just go ahead and scroll down to see how they are planning to enforce this. This particular news piece is from Houston. As students prepare to return to class, HISD is rolling out a new cell phone ban under a new state law that takes effect this school year. And the law is House Bill 1481. If you're from Texas, drop me a line, drop me a comment, give me a shout if you know anything about this. This new law requires all Texas school districts to restrict students from using personal electronic devices during the school day. This includes cell phones, tablets, smartwatches, headphones, and earbuds. And there's a lot of contention around this cell phones in classrooms topic, which I'll get into it in a minute. And one of the points, the valid points that many people bring up is, how the heck are you going to enforce this? Houston ISD has detailed how it plans to handle these, inevitable upcoming violations. The first offense is that the device is going to be confiscated and returned to a parent after school. The second offense is that the device is going to be held until the next day. And the third offense is that the device is going to be held for 2 school days. And these policies will be in place across all HISD campuses. A power issue. Tell me when we're on.
We are back.
We're back with everything. So we had a power issue. If we bleeped out, we had a power issue. The camera snapped up.
Yeah.
Everything's good. Okay, so hi, welcome back, everyone. I really do love doing live streams. I mean, this goes back to my live television days. It really is fun. A lot of people think I'm crazy for saying this, but it's fun. It's fun. Okay, anyways, so back to Texas. The state of Texas's new law banning cell phones. Houston, a lot of people say, how is this going to be enforced? So Houston ISD has detailed how it plans to handle these inevitable upcoming violations. And if you're in Texas, drop me a line and tell me what you think about all this, because I know it's it's a very hot topic. Everyone's like chattering about it on all sides. The first offense, the device will be confiscated and returned to a parent after school. The second offense, the device will be held until the next school day. And the third offense is that the device is going to be held for 2 school days. So these policies are going to be in place across all Texas campuses as the school year begins. Of course, are there any exceptions? According to the Texas Education Agency, there are exceptions if kids need devices for medical needs. If a physician is going, I'm getting a thumbs up, yes?
Going, yes.
Oh, keep going, good. Okay, if the device is required for health, safety, or emergency protocols, if students are using district-issued tablets for educational purposes, these are all exceptions. So I want to know what you feel about this as a parent and or if you happen to be a teacher. I'll tell you, Texas is, of course, not the only state doing this, right? California has guidelines, not a ban as of yet. I know a ban is being discussed. South Carolina schools have limitations about cell phones in classrooms. There was an article that I read the other day about this, about Georgia specifically, because I believe it was last year, Georgia banned cell phones in classes, and I read an article detailing sort of like a 1 year later assessment, like what was really going on in Georgia. A lot of things that were cited in the article describing 1 year later of banning cell phones in Georgia. I remember reading about how parents were not happy that they did not have access to their children 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I read that many parents were a little ticked off, shall we say, about the school claiming authority over something that the parents purchased for their families, saying, you know, why do the school districts, why does the state have control about this device that I personally purchased and am paying for? That's a valid concern. Again, this is not the only state doing this. There was an article in Newsweek from a few weeks ago that cites 14 states having active laws or executive orders that straight up ban or restrict cell phone use in schools. And the states that are this is happening in is Alabama, Florida, Georgia, which I just briefly discussed, Indiana, Kentucky, Louisiana, New York, Dakota, Oklahoma, South Carolina, Tennessee, Utah, Virginia, West Virginia. So again, I have mixed feelings about this ban. I get, and tell me what you think, I get that many parents don't like it. I get that you want access to your kids during the day. And I also get that you can't trust the teachers and the unions. I mean, look at the, look at the previous article that I just went through about the NEA union being completely corrupt and politicized. So I get that we can't trust many teachers and unions. And I understand that laws like this really do infringe on personal freedom. But despite all of that, and I know that those are big things to say despite, because those are legit. Despite all of that, I really do think it's time to ban these stupid devices from classrooms. Is that too much to say? The data is crystal clear. The overusage of screens leads to depression, anxiety, inability to focus. I mean, literally a decade ago, I'm pretty sure it was a decade ago, scientists found data, research. I believe it was a report on 60 Minutes, in fact. Scientists found that a kid's brain on a phone, when tracked, I forget how they do, they connect it and they track the brain waves and all that stuff. When tracked, a kid's brain on a phone replicates the effects of a brain on cocaine. This is what, it's not, this is data. These are facts. It especially affects, well, I don't want to say it especially affects girls, it affects boys and girls. And we're talking about this literal brain damage happening inside of classrooms where kids are supposed to be learning. And don't even get me started about the AirPods. The fact that some students in schools across this country are allowed to sit with a phone on their desk and an AirPod or two in their ear while in a classroom is preposterous. I cannot wrap my mind around that. That is bad teaching and it's bad parenting. And I'm probably gonna get a lot of flack for this, but yeah, this brain damage that is being caused by these screens, it's parents' faults, because if you are a parent allowing your child to take the phone to school, to have unfettered access to everything, you're part of the problem. And if you are a parent allowing your child to take the device to school to contact you in case of an emergency, which I get, you'd better be telling them that under no circumstances should that phone be outside of their backpack during the school day in a classroom. And if you're not telling the teacher, hey, teacher, if you see my kid pull the phone out of the backpack during classroom, I want you to discipline them and I want you to make them face the consequences and I want you to call me, that's a problem too. And if you're a teacher allowing the kid to have the phone on the desk and the AirPods in the ear because you don't want to do the argument and you don't want to do the fight and you don't want, that's a problem too. And again, I hate to be, I don't want to sound incompassionate about this because it is hard to be in a classroom. I am not a credentialed teacher, but I do know how hard it is to be in a classroom. I have taught classrooms of 30 kids or more. Frequently, consistently. It is hard, and it is hard to make kids accountable and hold the line and say, sorry, not doing that. It's hard. It's not fun, but it's necessary, and it's more necessary than ever. So I always, as someone who always has a soft screen ban happening at my house with my two teenagers, I say, if we're at the point that we need to ban phones in classrooms because parents and teachers cannot responsibly hold kids accountable to not take it out and not be distracted by it and not experience the brain damage that it is causing, then we need a phone ban in the classrooms. Leave your comments. Leave your comments. Do I dare look at the comments on Facebook? I don't even know if they're refreshing properly, but I want to see if anyone left a comment regarding the cell phones. Let's see. Some jobs have tiny lockers in the office where our small purse and phone fit. The lockers were put up because of the phone use was excessive. Teachers should have a landline and an intercom in the room, have more cameras in the schools and classrooms. Mina, I like your thinking on Facebook. Dixie on Facebook, I do support removing cell phones during class. Okay, I didn't get as much hate as I thought. I mean, those were just a few comments. That said, my go-to phrase, especially now, because even though we are in back to school season, it is still summer at my house. My go-to phrase is put the phone away. My girls' phones literally live in the kitchen drawer. They're never allowed the phones are never allowed in their rooms. And they live in the kitchen drawer. And I say, go outside and read a book. And they argue like normal kids. And we have a back and forth. And we don't have a fight, but we do have a discussion. And it's a firm discussion. And, I tell them, I go, it's the same as, would I feed you poison during your meals? No. Go outside and pick up a book. And then you can check your phone for a little bit. And then you're going to put it away. So, all about health and moderation. So, the go outside, the read, and then screen time, that's a rule at my house. So With that said, I will share with you right now, drumroll please, our summer reading list from PragerU Kids. We have, and this is for all age groups, we have 20 books that were handpicked, curated by our team here to kickstart and boost your family's knowledge and appreciation for America this summer. I realize we're at the end of summer, but it is not too late. It is still August. We are on August 6th as of this live stream today, and I really do believe in getting our kids reading. These are fun books. I am just scrolling the page. The Tip-Off is our first ever novel. It's our debut novel. It follows a young middle school boy at the start of a new school year. It's a 250-page chapter book. It's called The Tip-Off. It teaches resilience, grit. It teaches self-acceptance, fitting in, being part of a team, knowing what your gifts are, knowing what your role is. It's a great book, especially for the middle school boys. And you can get our summer reading list free on our website, PragerUKids.com. We've got books for kindergarten through third graders, through middle school, and even high school if your kids want to read about world events. I know some of our Around the World series about religious freedom. I have one of the books here, our Around the World series about religious freedom. These are colorful, easy books that are, conceptually appropriate. There we go, for high school and middle school, but they're colorful, and it doesn't seem like you're reading a boring textbook, but you're getting knowledge. So, summer reading list, PragerU Kids. Check it out if you haven't already. You got a few more weeks of summer. And now, I want to share with you. Moving along, I saved the best part for last. This is our little surprise for today. This is a hit piece that ended up being a really great compliment and challenge and initiative for all of us at PragerU Kids. And if we can pull up right now on MSNBC.com, the headline, propaganda platform PragerU is primed to capitalize on Trump's PBS cuts. I do love that alliteration, Jahan Jones, who wrote this piece. Hello to Jahan. I know we've never met. I see you've written a few pieces about PragerU, and they are intended to be, I know, hit pieces. I may not agree with what you have to say, Jahan Jones of MSNBC.com, but I will always defend your ability to say it because of our First Amendment. I've said that forever and ever, and I'll continue saying that. So let's go through this article. Propaganda platform PragerU. The alliteration is beautiful. And again, if you tuned into one of my live streams, what was it, several weeks ago, I think it was around the 4th of July, the whole live stream was all about patriotic education is not propaganda. Okay? If you didn't watch it, go back to that parent alert and watch it. But again, here we are, wrongfully accused of being propaganda because we are uplifting and celebrating patriotic education. So, MSNBC.com, this article opens with Donald Trump and the GOP's move to slash more than $1 billion from the Corporation for Public Broadcasting's budget is putting children's educational programming offered through the PBS at risk. Right-wing indoctrination platforms, in particular PragerU, are in position to capitalize. So this article goes on to talk about how PragerU Kids has a goal to indoctrinate children, and how Dennis Prager, the article is quoted here, Dennis Prager has admitted his goal to indoctrinate children with a right-wing ideology. I can't indoctrinate children. If you Google the video where Dennis Prager said, we offer doctrines to children, and what's wrong with the doctrines we offer, because the doctrine that we offer encompasses equality under God, freedom, liberty, love of country through our stains and faults towards a more perfect union. That is the doctrine that Dennis Prager was, quote, admitting to saying that we offer doctrines to children. But again, it doesn't matter because the MSNBC likes to put things in their own words. So it also says here that we downplay racist atrocities like slavery. False. It says that we downplay Indigenous people, false. PragerU, the article continues, has already entered partnerships with states to produce educational materials. It cites Oklahoma's far-right school superintendent, Ryan Walters, even announced this month that his state will use a new ideology test from PragerU for certification of teachers who come from states with what he called progressive education policies, something he said is necessary to protect students from radical leftist ideology. The last Parent Alert I did a few weeks ago talked about Oklahoma's state for new teachers going to their state. It is essentially a basic history and civics test to review basic U.S. history knowledge. This is not a radical test. So the article concludes by saying Trump and his allies have gutted PBS programming and are promoting the right-wing alternative of PragerU with a message that seems clear, and that message seems to be move over PBS and make way for PragerU. So I'm not going to get too much into this. I just wanted to share this piece because every time we are accused of being propaganda, we laugh and we say, well, we may not agree with what you have to say, but we'll always defend your ability to say it. The part about wanting us to offer an alternative to PBS, absolutely true. And that has been one of our goals since the very beginning. I was here in 2021 before PragerU Kids even launched. I helped create PragerU Kids episodes. I created Otto's Tales, the Otto's Tales Storytime series. I helped create the Otto's Tales books. I created our first Craft Plus history show, Craftery, that talked about American history. I created our Guess or Mess show. I created our Unboxed show about state history. Yes, since 2021, we have, in fact, wanted to offer an alternative to PBS. And, you know, let me continue by saying back in 2021, when I first started here at PragerU to co-create this PragerU Kids program, my kids were about, 9 or 10. They watched PBS. They loved PBS. I loved Sesame Street. Mr. Rogers was my personal favorite show as a child. I love PBS's concerts. I have friends of mine who produce and perform in PBS's, concerts. That said, I noticed that PBS programming back in 2021 was drastically changing. Sesame Street all of a sudden started talking about adult topics that were not appropriate for children. They were talking about vaccines. They were talking about anxiety. They're talking about Pride Month. These are adult topics not appropriate for children's shows. So yeah, our goal when creating PragerU Kids was to supply an alternative, a voluntary, non-mandatory alternative for parents like me that we could trust to put our kids in front of the TV that didn't have messaging about vaccines or anxiety or, sexual preferences. Yeah. It's a free market, right? Isn't that what the free market is? You can create options and people can pick and choose what they like and what they don't. So the fact that PBS was a taxpayer-funded system that was blatantly pushing politicized, age-inappropriate ideologies, that to me as a parent was not okay for my kids. So yeah, we were all about creating an alternative. Caught us red-handed. An alternative, non-mandatory, supplemental option for parents and teachers. And that is exactly, MSNBC cited that, we've entered into partnerships with schools. Yes, our partnerships with certain state education departments, Oklahoma being one of them, South Carolina being one of them, Texas being one of them, New Hampshire, Arizona, Montana, All of those partnerships are non-mandatory for teachers. They're supplemental should you want to use them. And they're on display on our website, PragerU.com. Free, full transparency, every single episode and book viewable and readable to anyone. So there are no surprises. I encourage you to check it out. And I encourage you to, if you read that MSNBC article and you read about all the accusations regarding how, we downplayed slavery and we downplayed indigenous people, literally watch every single one of our PragerU Kids episodes in full, in context, and you make the call. And you may disagree with us, and that's okay. I fully support that. But something that we're actually and our website is, one place where you can find us. Of course, we are also on YouTube. And the new place that we're at that I'm very excited to share is we are now on Spotify. So this is very exciting. Are we on our Spotify? Is this our PragerU website? This looks like our PragerU website. So PragerU Kids is now streaming on Spotify, free educational and patriotic podcasts for kids. You can see on the thumbnails here, we've got Otto's Tales, we've got Bible stories for kids, we've got Craftery, we have Street Smarts, we have Unboxed USA, Guess or Mess, which is a game show, we have Leo and Layla's History Adventures, and then Middle School is Around the World and our How-To series. So these are all now available on Spotify. If you have music playlists for your kids, go ahead and include some of our PragerU Kids Spotify resources. Otto's Tales is a terrific storytime episode for kindergarten through second graders. It's fun to listen to. Let them listen to the story. Yeah, we've got the videos, and the videos are fun because they show Otto the Bulldog, but let them listen to our stories on Spotify. Let them imagine it, right? So we're very excited about that. Let's see if we have any more comments on Facebook. Hey, parents, take the phones away. From Ken on Facebook. Craig, get rid of Wi-Fi in the school and block it from coming into the schools. Michelle, make it part, we're talking about phones again, make it part of the participation grade. Each time they're caught using their phone, they get a 0 on participation for that day. Not a bad idea. Good comments about all of these things that I shared with you today. That's it for us on Parent Alert. I want to wish you a very, very, very happy and joyful end of summer, time with your friends, time with your families, with your children. I also want to wish a very happy back to school with eyes wide open and courage for parents and teachers to stand firm in your American values and stand firm in, your beliefs and your religious beliefs and be courageous as we head into this new school year with a dedication to really teaching children knowledge and tuning out all the noise, all the activism, all the political noise that are, that the NEA and local teachers unions are unfortunately, by all evidence, continuing to push into classrooms. Subscribe to PragerUKids.com for free if you haven't already, because we have new releases every time I turn around, and you can get them. I myself can't even keep up. I help create the content, and I can't even keep up. Get the new releases delivered to your inbox for your kids. Don't miss an episode. This includes Parent Alert episodes into your inbox when you subscribe for free at PragerUKids.com. And we want to thank you for your support always, because we can't create any of this without you. Thank you to our generous donors. It is fundraising month right now in August. Right now we have a 2 times match. So if you donate $1, your donation is increased to $2, $10, $20, $100, $200, $500,000, $1 million. Just put it out there. PragerU.com if you're moved to take part in our August fundraising month. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful rest of your summer, back to school season. I'll see you on the next Parent Alert. Bye-bye.